250 million people tapping furiously on their phones make money? How? Unless there was like an ad baked into the back and every click actually somehow is, do you know what I mean, earning an ad dollar. Like
maybe there's some partnership with the massage gun industry.
Yeah, maybe the massage gun industry are the ones who set it up.
This is just like
no one's massaging their spouses anymore. What can we do with this supply?
Big massage gun is behind Ton and Hamster Kombat.
No,
the people need to know we're stupid.
Yeah.
Like, first and foremost, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know why we're here. And because of
we're a little bit hungry.
Yeah. But people should be super interested based on our complete lack of experience and knowledge.
Yeah, I understand. We bring that exciting element to the game, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah. We're switching things up. So you don't want experts.
No. Who would want to listen to them anyway?
Yeah.
And they talk a lot of technical stuff. It's hard to understand.
No one wants truth anymore. Speaking of which, the king of fake news has impacted the crypto market this last week. Good old Donald Trump.
Oh, yes.
So I think it's a few things interesting there. They tried to take him out and kill him.
They.
And Bitcoin, he survives. And Bitcoin pumps.
Yeah, there's like a 15-minute dip, I think, when everyone was not sure what was going on, and then it pumped.
So what's your take on that? Like, do you think that that's a real, not tangible, that's a real, like, you can make that connection and it's demonstrated?
It's absolutely connected.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my opinion, you know, crypto native people or the crypto community is a little bit pro-Trump. I would say, like, leans right.
Purely because he's pro-crypto.
Yeah, because he's pro-crypto and pro-innovation. And I mean, I'm an Australian, so I don't really have a huge opinion on it, but I do follow it more than Australian politics. I will say that I think the result of him having an assassination attempt, surviving, and then the market's pumping was just a kind of a follow through of he's going to win, and we think he's going to win. So load up on your bags. And I think the prediction markets on Polymarket quickly went up 10 or 15% in his favor as well, very, very quickly.
And I guess on the flip side of that, just yesterday or a couple days ago, news started to circulate that there's more credibility to the fact that Biden might drop out of the race. And based on that news, it seems like there was a dump in Bitcoin.
Yeah, because if there's a chance of someone else stepping in, there's a little bit more lucid, then a little bit higher chance of giving Trump a run for his money, then, oh shit, what happens then? So maybe that's that. Also, there's people playing these markets that are really sophisticated. So it could be a fake out of the narrative of that and not actually the result of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone trading that news. Yeah.
It's definitely interesting to watch that all kind of play out. One other thing, I don't want to get political on this because honestly, I don't care for any of these politicians. But Trump is speaking at the Bitcoin conference. People are excited about that. I also read a headline that he's considering having a Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. government. So
there's talk of that. I mean, we'll see what happens, when he gets in.
Is the Australian government leaning one way or another with crypto?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm a bit unplugged.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. I don't normally watch the news, but because this one's so related, they're so connected that, it comes into my sphere a little bit. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. So
and his vice president the vice president candidate that he announced, Vance.
Yeah, JD Vance.
Young guy, ex-VC, pro-innovation,
crypto.
Pro-crypto. Yeah. So, and they're both business people.
So the general sentiment amongst the crypto space is let's get Trump in there and
load up, Trump's in, and
bags will pump.
Bags will pump. I mean, this is, the general kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very obvious if you log into Twitter and or X and see.
One other thing that has been catching my attention personally, that I think for creators is definitely super relevant and something to follow if you're a creator and you're building in Web3 or you're interested in Web3, is everything that's happening with Telegram and Ton. So, again, we're not experts. We don't know anything, but, I'm
pretty much an expert.
Pretty much an expert. But an existing messaging application that already has millions of users builds out its own blockchain infrastructure on the back end and essentially has now the ability to onboard all of these new users into crypto, and all of these developers are starting to explore the mini app functionality that's currently possible, which is very limited. I mean, most of these games are like tap a button, log in and tap a button every day, and
That's accessible.
That's accessible. And that's the only way to generational wealth if you're under a certain age is to log in and play with hamsters by pressing a button.
Yeah, I saw someone had the massage guns so that they could tap even faster.
There's a noticeable spike in Russia in massage gun sales based purely off of Hamster Kombat. So Hamster Kombat is one of these mini apps, has 200, I'm going to pull up the numbers here so I'm actually spot on, 250 million users, which in the words of the Telegram CEO, makes it the fastest growing digital service in the world. I don't know how touching a button with a massage gun is a digital service. There are other massage related services that are digital that I think are more apt to be able to
they don't grow
fast grow. I mean, they grow fast depending.
250 million, that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there and easy to, how many users are on Telegram? It's right there.
I think over, a billion, over a billion. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
We'll put the number right there.
I do know. Really? I do know that the Telegram team is very, very lean, right? They run a very small team and they have such a powerful application, such powerful reach now. And the founder and the team, they own the whole thing pretty much. They're a very impressive company. And the fact that they now are going into crypto, they did do an ICO. I don't know if you remember, some time back.
No.
Yeah, they did. They raised some money. They've never raised money for the company, but they've raised money in an ICO they did. I can't remember when it was, last cycle, a few years ago. And then this new blockchain, Ton, I don't necessarily know if they need a blockchain. I'm not that dialed into it, but the amount of users that are there can engulf how many users there are in crypto like that.
Yep.
However, will that work? Facebook tried the same thing with Libra and it never really translated. Is this just going to be a ghost town in 12 months? I don't know.
It very well could be, especially if the games and the mini apps don't develop beyond the functionality that they currently have, which is super limited. But I mean, you mentioned a couple of things there that I think are interesting.
We're moving towards Idiocracy, the movie.
Yeah.
And the Hamster Kombat is the cutting edge.
Yeah. It's crazy. But a couple things that you mentioned that I think are interesting, does Telegram need a blockchain? I think if you look at it, based on what they seem to prioritize privacy, right? That seems to be somewhat of an central ethos to that company and what they've built. And messaging wise. And it seems like they're gunning for this all-in-one app similar to WeChat in China, which the Western world doesn't really have that right now. In Thailand, you see it a bit with Line, right? Maybe it's not as extreme as WeChat, but so it seems like that's the positioning here a bit. And if you combine that with this kind of somewhat ethos of privacy, it makes sense to have the financial aspect of it be blockchain and crypto, right?
Yes.
Those things seem to align there. So it's all these payment functionalities that will be baked in will be on chain. There's now stablecoin, I believe, that is on Ton.
It might make sense from a business perspective. It might make sense from a technical perspective, depending on how many people they have like transmitting. I'm not quite sure on the numbers. I can look into it. Mm-hmm. But, they could use other blockchains for this. Mm-hmm. However, maybe it's not fast enough. I read somewhere that their throughput was 100,000 transactions a second, which is big. It's fast.
You mentioned like that those types of numbers when blockchains throw these numbers out. Most of it's, correct me if I'm wrong, most of it's kind of theoretical because they're not running that many transactions. Like Solana is another example, and I think you were the one that told me this, and I forget all of the numbers, but it was essentially like they're saying a certain amount of transactions per second that is extremely high. Yeah. But the reality is that there's never been anywhere near to that many transactions even tested. Yeah. So
they'll say transactions per second, TPS. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's how they'll judge the speed of the blockchains. It'll be a big thing, like, oh, it's so fast. However, we're not using all that block space, so it's not really required yet. Yes. So Solana has, I think, this could be a little bit off, but theoretical.
I love this trend of like... Every number we say, we don't know.
We don't know. I mean, it's around about, I think it's either 95 or 65,000. I feel like 65 is not fast enough. I think it was higher, like 95. But then they did a test at 65. I think the test was 65.
So they actually ran 65,000.
Yeah, on a test net, but never on the public net. And then they've pushed 1,500 and something is the max that they've ever done, publicly required. And that was when meme coin mania, there's crazy applications that mimic mining via transactions. It was when all those transactions were failing. There was like 70% transactions failing on Solana at one point, and the 70% were included in that number of 1,500 a second,
So it's really never gotten anywhere close, and when the most that it's gotten to, there was massive failure.
Exactly. And I'm not saying it's no good, but we just haven't got there and tested it yet. So
so much of this is like so forward looking and theoretical, like everything we're talking about, especially like we're going to get into more of the SocialFi stuff. And a lot of the what you and I would agree would call failures around some of these apps already.
I hate to call them failures now because we're still in this stage where they can work out. But if you look at Hamster Kombat, that's a massive success. For what it is. Like, I haven't even played it, but from what I can see, 250 million, there must be bots too. But then when it comes to Farcaster, it's celebrated this week 80,000 daily active users after 2 years.
Let's get into that in a minute because there's a couple more things I want to talk about here. So I think...
I thought you were nudging me that
a little bit. I didn't
feel it.
I'm just trying to make things confusing. As long as I throw your mind into chaos, I can manipulate the situation. I saw a video of all those massage guns. There's like, some people in Russia that have set up like 100 phones and they're just massaging the shit out of all these phones and earning their hamster points or whatever. So it's so manipulated. But something that's interesting because we talk about like, okay, will it be a ghost town on Telegram in a year when the bear market inevitably comes? Will people just disappear and all of this progress that everyone's so bullish on Ton and Telegram right now, will that just be gone? Because you see like some serious projects, Rug Radio, very big like creator media company, very quickly pivoted their strategy away from other blockchains to go all in on Telegram with what they're building. There's a lot of activity happening. Will it disappear? And something that's related to that in the news, it's not really same, but Reddit is now sunsetting their collectible kind of service or infrastructure that they have, and they call it collectibles. It's really just NFTs. They never use the word NFTs in their marketing and messaging. It's just
That was a mistake.
I actually think that was a good thing, and that's why millions of people
Did it.
Because most people hear about NFTs and they think it's bullshit and they don't even want to get involved. But they did something cool where it's like digital collectibles. But now that's all going away. And I remember when that first came out, how bullish everyone was on NFTs. It's like, oh, this is onboarding millions and millions of new people. I have some numbers here. According to Dune Analytics, 33 million collectible avatars were minted on Reddit. And now, those digital avatars will still exist on chain somewhere, but the functionality within their app or website is going to be removed. So will Telegram follow suit? Will Ton be a thing of the past? It's just interesting to see, because I think Starbucks sunset their NFT loyalty program earlier this year. I heard, maybe about the Nike, what is it, RFKT?
Oh, yeah.
That
Nike bought them. Yeah.
Nike bought them, but then I heard that they're killing them. Like, they're just going to close it.
Wow. They paid a big money for that.
And NFT Nick, the meme guy?
No.
Okay. You got to check out NFT Nick. It's the worst. He's just like a investor and personal brand, like influencer, crypto Twitter influencer.
Okay.
Trolling everyone.
Okay.
He posted something about that a while ago, and of course I did no due diligence, and I'm like, that's the truth. Let me never think about that again, but file it as something that I can reference in a podcast to a bunch of people later, But I think
solid.
Yeah. My approach to producing this podcast is just reading headlines and not digging any deeper.
Hey, you and the rest of the world, but don't worry about it.
We're the same.
You're in good company.
Yeah. That's why people want to watch this, is so they can see a mirror held up to how stupid they are from my. But I think it's a little bit sad to see some of these things just given up on, because NFTs are just fucking dead right now. Like
NFTs, like the sale of NFTs, or like people using the technology?
I would more the former than the latter, but I think also just the sentiment in the space. And
then it's time for a rebrand.
Yeah.
It's time for a rebrand. In crypto, when your narrative dies, it doesn't mean it's over. It's time for a rebrand.
And how would you rebrand NFTs?
NFTs? Don't know. I need some time to think about it. But maybe consumer-facing digital collectibles.
Yeah.
Or you could call
digital collectibles, membership programs.
Digital collectibles. Yeah, I think just the term NFT is one of those terms that just won't survive. It'll mean something. We'll be like, oh yeah, NFTs, but it's just too broad to mean anything to anyone. It just doesn't mean anything. NFT, it just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that there'll be new words created for, the membership programs or what have you, or the technology will just be baked in the back.
Yeah, just abstracted.
And
nobody
you won't know that it was an NFT that gave you access. Like these people playing Hamster Kombat. I don't even know where this falls into the crypto sphere, because when they create an account, does that mean that they create an account and it becomes a wallet on Ton? And the points that they're farming or playing or whatever, do they turn into some type of token in an airdrop? Like, I'm not quite sure how it all works.
Well, they are doing an airdrop, and it's based on your watt point, or not watt point, something about a different one, your Hamster Kombat tokens. But I think it's all linked to your Ton wallet.
Yeah.
And all that airdrop, people are still debating what's going to happen with that, but
it'll be a very massive. It'll be a huge airdrop, and it'll be a very big disappointment.
Coming from someone who has seen it before.
Well, I mean, how else can that work out? 250 million people tapping furiously on their phones make money? How? Unless there was like an ad baked into the back, and every click actually somehow is Do you know what I mean? Earning an ad dollar. Like
maybe there's some partnership with the massage gun industry.
yeah, maybe the massage gun industry are the ones who set it up.
This is just like
no one's massaging their spouses anymore. What can we do with this supply?
Big massage gun is behind Ton and Hamster Kombat.
Yeah.
Like the industry that
Russia and big massage gun conglomerate.
I thought Big Pharma was a problem, but Big Massage Gun is fucking society.
Man.
Yeah, so a little bit sad. One more question related to this, and maybe you don't have an answer. Maybe it's a stupid question to ask out of nowhere, but like, do you think these companies, like you look at Reddit, you look at Starbucks, anyone that sunset their crypto or NFT program, they launched it during the previous bull market, right? Mm-hmm. And they have sunset it within the last 6 months. Do you think they ever really believed in it? Or do you think they were just trying to get in early on something that they thought had a lot of hype? Because if they really believed in it, it's a little bit crazy for me that they killed it already.
I mean, you know, these are huge companies. Like, someone pitched it to them. They had a meeting about it. They had another meeting about it. Then someone came up with a strategy and they had a meeting about it, and then it happened.
Mm-hmm. And Big Massage Gun calls up and says, make sure you push it.
And then it didn't work out, so they close it. I mean, these, you know, they have campaigns all the time. This just happened to have NFTs baked into it somehow.
Yeah.
And the community of people that are actually minting NFTs on chain, having on-chain wallets is pretty small. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know if it's a good idea to make the focus, these huge companies, to make the focus of a campaign Web3.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's
users, unless they're high value users for some reason. That's like a different reason to do it.
Yeah. 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 Because there's definitely a lot of negative connotation that comes with it. So it's like, for some of these larger established reputable corporations, like, it's maybe, you know, not the safest for their brand image to go so deep into this. But yeah, it's
last peak cycle, peak bull market, metaverse and NFTs was just everywhere. I think that people were worried that they were going to miss out. The narrative was so strong that, you know, these companies thought, if we don't do something now, we better buy land in the sandbox. We better buy land in Decentraland. Otherwise, it's, you know, so that scarcity play worked on them, you know.
Do you think it will happen again if this bull market really continues? You think there'll be another big NFT metaverse run where it actually does get some mainstream momentum again? Not even from like a price point perspective, but just from like an optics and adoption perspective of like, because right now it's just so dead that...
I don't really think there'll be more users in the metaverse in the next year or two. In a metaverse. There might be games that start to backport in some type of, you know, interoperable crypto technology of some description. NFTs or something.
So we're too early. Or it's just never going to happen.
Perpetually too early. And don't stick around long enough. Yeah, that should be the slogan of the podcast.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's, I think that was a nice little look at our twisted minds in terms of what we've been thinking about for the last week. So let's shift over to SocialFi.
I just want to say I wasn't thinking of any of that in the last week, past the Trump stuff.
By last week, I mean 20 mintes before the podcast, when we spent, you know, the perfect amount of time preparing for
just watching shorts with each other.
Yeah. I was sharing stupid videos. I didn't do any work. So with that, let's continue to show how knowledgeable we are. You have a couple other things on your list about what's happening, but do any of them excite you enough?
Well, just because you said what's happening this week, I thought one thing that was interesting, especially because your podcast is like...
Our podcast. Don't put this on me. I'm not the only one failing here.
Well, it's branded the Tellr podcast and you are Mr. Tellr.
Yeah.
I've asked to have an advisory role, still haven't been offered one. So, you know, until then, let's call it your podcast.
Cool, fair.
The Doodles trailer came out, NFT project, Doodles. Yeah. If you're into NFTs, you know Doodles, right? and they released a new trailer for an upcoming series animation, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was
So yeah, I sent it. Yeah, and the colors were good. The animation was good. Some of the jokes didn't hit quite as hard as maybe they could have with like a little bit more work, I thought. But who am I to?
They need better
judge?
writers.
Who am I to judge? But the floor price pumped for one day. Went up about 4 times, and then
The floor price
started coming
4x.
down. No, not the floor price didn't 4x. The number of transactions went
volume.
up. Yeah, the volume went up four times. The floor price just went up. I don't know, I can't remember, but like 0.2 ETH or 0.3 ETH, and then now it's started to come back down. But if they keep following up with that, I think they're on the right. It looked high enough quality that you could see it on Netflix or something.
100%. I'm happy you brought this story up, because I think this is just total perfect example of like really what NFTs could represent. Doesn't matter that they're NFTs. It's like community owned IP.
Yes,
and
community owned IP. See, that's a better name. Right?
Yeah, I mean for that use of
For
it.
that use, yeah.
Like, it's super cool. You can, you buy this NFT sponsored by, you buy this NFT and you have faith in the brand and the direction that they're heading. Because when people bought Doodles, nobody knew that this cartoon or series was coming out. Maybe they talked about it on a roadmap at some point, but like...
I wouldn't think they did. It was so long ago. Anything on their roadmap would have already, unless it was like this pie in the sky kind of like very random thing. But their early roadmap would have been completed already. And this, so it's, yeah, I think it's good. I know a few people that are kind of into that community, and they would be very happy. I would be very happy if I saw that coming from my community. Dead fellas do something. And Pudgy Penguins, with the tapping games, somebody put a Pudgy Penguin. I don't know if it was their own penguin and just using that penguin's IP, or it was the actual company itself. I don't think it was the company. I think it was just a single user. And they made one of these tapping Telegram games, like a clone, and it that got a huge amount of users. I don't know how many, but it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting. It'd be cool to know exactly that story, because if it was just some random holder who was like, okay, I'm going to build a Telegram game. What is one way that I can very quickly market it and get visibility? Oh, I have my Pudgy Penguin. Let me just make this Pudgy Penguin kind of the centerpiece of the game, and then that just opens the door to an existing. They're leaning on this community-owned IP brands that they're a part of, and the natural, like, I don't want to call it degenerate, but just the supportive nature of being in an NFT community. It's like rising tide lifts all ships. You're making this Telegram game with the Pudgy Penguins. That benefits the brand because more people see it. Let's make sure we all support it. And I think that's cool. And
I don't like you, but you're pumping my bags. Let's do it.
Exactly.
I like it.
So yeah, Doodles, I think very cool. Another, just from the creator side, Pharrell, who at one point was like the creative, he was brought on as like the brand, I don't know if it was like the exact title, brand ambassador, or was like creative director of Doodles.
He was yeah. He had a title. He made the music.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Lil Yachty. So that's like, that's really cool. Both very, very awesome artists, and they're involved, dabbling.
I wonder if somebody like Pharrell, with kind of his kind of rep, right? He's got a good rep, right? Yeah. There's been no scandals of that.
No, he's no Drake.
Yeah. So, is it good for his brand to be associated with Web3? I've always wondered this.
I mean, it's a similar conversation in a different context of the corporate brands being associated with. So. But like, it's very interesting. I think, Pharrell is just such a leader. Like, he's ahead of his time. He's kind of always been ahead of his time with his music, with his art, with his fashion. And this is just another example of that, in my opinion. He sees the value of what's happening there. Who knows what his conversations look like with the Doodles team, and what his agreement with them is, what that looks like. But
does that mean Snoop is also on the cutting edge? Yeah.
Well, I think with Snoop, didn't it was like his son who really like was exploring NFTs early in the market.
I think him though. Yeah.
Well, I think his son, because Cosmo Del Medica, that like crypto Twitter account, that's Snoop's son.
Oh, I thought it was Snoop.
No, well, people thought it was Snoop for a while,
Yeah, okay.
and then it came out it was his son. So yeah, I think, you know, Snoop is also cutting edge. I mean, hip hop innovator. I don't know if he's a billionaire now. Probably not a billionaire, but
I don't know, but he's
big entrepreneur. He's the man, you know.
Yeah.
And I personally really like seeing these people kind of take this risk, leap of faith, and hopefully it's for the right reason, in that they actually believe the technology is sustainable. Because I think the worst thing that could happen is just every big brand comes in, starts something, and then kills it.
Yeah.
And like, then everyone's it's just going to get this reputation of like, okay, Pharrell jumped in and now he's out. Starbucks jumped in and now they're out. Like,
Andrew Tate jumped in.
Yeah. Andrew Tate is here for life. As someone who watched the entire 3.5 hour Thread Guy podcast with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's a very interesting guy, but I think he believes in it. And his whole perspective, it's funny we're talking about this. His whole perspective is like, crypto is a cesspit. It's horrible. It's all scammers. It's a bunch of cucks who are just want to get rich quick and not work a day in their life. Like, it's horrible. It's the worst people in the world. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to save it. That's his thing. And I think he really believes that, which is interesting and cool if he really believes that, because he wants to build this entire ecosystem with his meme coin. Do you know what he's building with his website? University.com, the most valuable domain in all of history that only true alphas would know about.
I know of his Tate University.
So this is everything I say is like, I don't know what I'm talking about. So I got to cut that. I'm an expert on this Andrew Tate topic. He launched.
Are you in the university?
No, but
Okay.
after watching that podcast, part of me is like, I should be in the university. And let me explain. Yeah. I have no morals. I don't. It's interesting. I'm just interested by this
Just watch the CoffeeZilla.
Okay. Great creator, CoffeeZilla.
And just kind of balance them out before you go and pay $12.99 a month.
I watch CoffeeZilla. Watch CoffeeZilla, and I learn, and then I go join the scams after I know.
Yeah.
I'm like just.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be informed.
Yeah. I want to know how I'm going to get fucked before it happens.
Yeah.
Long and short of this Andrew Tate thing, he launched his daddy meme coin.
Yeah.
But he has plans on launching another crypto, right? That's the real crypto. And the only way to get the airdrop is to join his university and actively contribute. So you have to go to the gym and post photos. Like, you have to do all this entrepreneur alpha stuff and post about it. And the more you do that, the more, I forget, it's like you earn points essentially. And so what he's saying is, I'm making crypto great again, or great for the first time, by forcing people to actively improve their lives in order to earn the crypto. And I think that's interesting.
No comment.
Yeah, I've been working out and sending my photos, but
He should partner with Steppen then. They're Steppen. They're the cutting edge of sweat tech.
sweat to earn.
Yeah. I can't condone any of that. It just
I think
and I'm not saying that I don't like Andrew Tate. Kind of am. But I just, he's not going to save crypto. He's kind of like nearly the opposite in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think he'll save crypto. He compared himself to Indiana Jones, like finding the golden egg. He looks for golden eggs, and crypto is his next golden egg. So he has a wall of golden eggs, right?
Yeah.
And crypto is his next. And he said final golden egg.
Yep.
Of all the
Running OnlyFans accounts was the first golden egg.
Yes.
The second golden egg is, male, what do they call it?
Receiving selfies of
Male toxicity or whatever.
Male toxicity, yeah.
And then the next one is crypto.
Toxicity to earn.
Yeah.
Of all the to earns,
Toxicity to earn is the most viral.
but scam to earn.
And
is
it's already
proven the
built
most.
in a lot to crypto Twitter.
Toxicity to earn.
Yeah, it could work out.
Cool. Well,
Thanks for tuning in.
yeah. We talked a lot about these things, but I think it's interesting, and because what we're about to talk about now, SocialFi, picking up on our conversation, and last episode we talked about what SocialFi is and a few of the apps that are being developed there or exist there currently, and what those ecosystems look like. But today we just want to talk about two. And we
because last podcast was all over the place, and
and this one is any better.
we're trying to like keep it between the lines on this one.
I'm still thinking about Big Massage Gun.
Yeah, see, I had a nice little segue here. Look,
I'm sorry, I picked it up.
What happened this week? Farcaster hits 80,000 daily active users and got 150 million in funding last month for just 80,000 daily actives.
Yeah, I like your take. Why is that good or why is that bad?
And then boom, into Farcaster. Smooth transition.
He's a professional. I'm just really like silencing his ability to thrive here. Yeah, so 80,000 daily active users. Is that good? Is that bad? I'm trying to set you up to explain the situation. Don't look at me like I'm a stupid fuck.
No, I mean, I just feel like for a social application, right? SocialFi, it's pretty bad.
It's abysmal.
It's abysmal. Yeah. But for a crypto app, it's pretty good.
If it was a crypto app.
I mean? But it's a social app, right?
It literally takes no extra steps of onboarding than downloading Twitter. Anyone could download it.
$5.
You have to pay $5. Yes. So
for the year. But with Google Pay or Apple Pay.
You think they do that to help
stop bots?
Okay.
Maybe. Maybe.
Because also
tie the phone to the wallet.
You know that once you hit a certain amount of frames and like casts, whatever they call them, you have to pay more money. Like you only have a certain amount of storage. Because I was thinking, okay, maybe the $5 just like covers a certain amount of that cost for them.
Yeah, no, you have to pay for storage. Because it's on a blockchain, so it's expensive storage relative to normal storage.
So yeah, the
functionality, like you would pay more to store certain data to make it more available and interoperable for a reason. And the reason should be that it's valuable to be on a blockchain. And I guess this experiment, or all these experiments, are trying to prove whether it's valuable enough or not. Right?
Has it, based on the current results, would you say it's valuable enough?
Well, they just got 150 million in funding. So somebody thinks it's valuable. We all believe in it, so let's use it kind of vibe going on.
And that just leads to all of the content being about it. That the app, the experience, the Web3, it's like we're all just talking about this. I want to see people talk about like fun stuff that has nothing to do with Web3. That's like
there should be a gardening channel on Farcaster.
Yeah, we'll make that happen.
But I think that I was thinking, you could put all pro lens like data and information on Farcaster, and then on your lens apps talk about Farcaster, and then try and get some engagement farming there.
Yeah.
But then I thought, why? So unless you're a Web3 in biz dev, or you're, I don't know, a scout for a VC or something, I don't see necessarily the benefit of using these platforms yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you really believe and build an audience early.
Yeah.
So you can have like more steam as more people come on.
Yeah, it's very much speculation in terms of like time commitment to potential growth and visibility in the future. Like if you plant those seeds now and water that garden. So we'll do a gardening channel, but it's going to be gardening our crypto content to grow it. That didn't land.
It comes back to something like are you going to risk the time to do it? Like the Hamster Kombat people, they're tapping away. What happens if they find out that they get $1?
Yeah, there's going to be a great hamster civil war.
Yeah. So I just, I don't know how pro I should be about it yet.
Yeah, for me,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I will say that related to other crypto applications like dApps in crypto, like 80,000 daily active users isn't bad.
Yep.
But if you go like Instagram got 1 million in its first 3 months, 10 million within a year, and 100 million 2 years after that.
And Farcaster's been around for...
I want to say 2 years, but it could only be a year and a half that they've allowed, because Farcaster, Warpcast had restrictions on entry, invite only, because they were trying to like curate the early people. And another thing, like I wouldn't fade this 150 million. That's a lot of money. So they could acquire a few different businesses and onboard like millions of users in a different way.
Do you know of any social apps or something similar that were around for a long time before really taking off in a more exponential way?
I'm not off the top of my... I tried to find something, actually, and I was thinking Snapchat. Snapchat is popular, but it hasn't hit like Instagram, right? Or maybe it did in the US.
I think it did at some point, and then like Snapchat with like the value was like, okay, the message disappears right away. And so
pretty much for dick pics.
Dick pics or just like horrible behavior. Dick pics aren't horrible behavior. That's why I separate those into two different categories.
But the adoption as far as like a normal social app is very, very low. But I also I looked into Uniswap, which you would say crypto-wise is one of the most popular apps and dApps in crypto, right? Everyone in crypto has used Uniswap at some point. And Uniswap hit 20,000 users in its first 2 months, right? And then 1 million users within the first year.
Yeah.
So we're quite a way off even that.
Totally. I think like it's a little bit apples and oranges too. Because like I think the value of a social media app is the network, right?
Exactly.
And the network isn't there. Like the value of a decentralized exchange has nothing to do with the amount of users on it.
Well,
the liquidity.
Yeah.
But it's not as big of an... You want to go to a social media app where you're going to cultivate the biggest audience.
It's the only thing.
Yeah.
The network effect. So this is why, I'm not sold yet. But I got an account.
Yep. You followed me.
I paid. Oh yeah. Yeah, I did. I paid the $5. I posted a few times. I got people reply to me within a day, like welcome to Warpcast, and if you keep it up, you'll get lots of followers in no time.
They're just pushing the pyramid.
And then I just grabbed someone's content off Twitter and posted it to see if I could
We talked about that like meme arbitrage.
Meme arbitrage. Yeah, that's what I did.
The opportunity for meme arbitrage. There's already people who have tapped into this, but like there's a world of Twitter memes out there that seems endless, and Farcaster is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of how many memes have been shared there. So if somebody wants to just go in there and post 50 memes a day, they could probably generate some decent results from it. And my closing thoughts on Farcaster, unless you have anything else, is really, I differ from like you're still... I think we both agree that the jury's still out on whether this is going to be a thing. You're not as interested in spending your hard-earned time on doing anything because it's not clear. It's so speculative whether it's worth your time, right? Well, I'm going to go heavy on the small pond, big fish. Just hoping that there's more visibility in the future, or even if there is not, and I can cultivate a very targeted audience of people in there that are aligned with kind of my vision for what I'm doing, then only having 80,000 users in there, if daily active users in there, if I can get a few thousand people to follow me, like still valuable for me. Yeah.
And there are accounts with 100,000 followers.
But none of the followers are active.
Only a subset of the followers are active. But I think for you, it's kind of perfect. In that intersection of like Web3 and creator economy, it sits right there. It's just how long? I'm not saying it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I wonder how long it'll take for it to become,
A thing.
a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a thing. And
The more realistic,
will something else come out?
yeah, the more realistic scenario is the Instagrams, the Twitters, just build out a similar Web3 version.
Any feature that actually works well, they'll clone. Kind of like stories gets cloned across everyone, shorts gets cloned across everyone. So yes, that will happen, but there still could be something,
Did you notice the GM function?
No.
Anytime you post on Farcaster with a GM,
Yeah.
it changes either from a like button of your post to a GM button.
Oh.
Just automatically.
Wow.
Yeah. True value there.
That's nice. It's cute.
I did that and I was like, yes!
Yeah. Well, one thing I did on Farcaster today, I saw these frames that they have. Essentially, you can program a frame, which is like an iframe type thing. I don't know exactly the technology, but it essentially runs a mini application from within the timeline, and it was called Burn Wallet or Burn something. Roast. So roast you. So essentially, you click it. It says get roasted. You click, and then it says checking your blockchain history. And then it says refresh in a second. You click refresh, and then it gives you a little story about your wallet.
And how many horrible decisions.
And yeah, exactly. I'm not exactly sure which wallet it was and how, but those types of things are kind of cute.
They tested that functionality to try to make it more empowering, but they realized that the AI they're using could never find everyone's crypto's down, everyone's losing money, so it has to be a roast.
They changed the name.
Yeah, it has to be a roast.
Anyone using Farcast is way down, you know what I mean? And another one I looked into was DeSo, right? So this is BitClout, the infrastructure that they used to launch BitClout. Essentially, they made a layer 1 out of it. And I just have here their daily active users today. When I checked, it was 2,156. But only 189 that perform more than 10 actions. So when you're talking about that smaller pool, you're either going to have an effect or it's just never going to happen.
Yep, thank you. You should have subscribed already.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Subscribe down below. There you go.
We're never putting anything in those moments,
Just cutting it out.
Yeah.
I do think that as places like Tellr, bring more creators across into Web3, that people will find really clever ways to use this technology, because it's kind of like having extra tools at your disposal. So I'm not kind of like closing the door to that. The idea that because you own, say, a Pudgy Penguin NFT, you're able to access these rooms, these spaces, these private spaces. You're able to download this content. You're able to, mint something else, So I just feel like there's a lot more to work with there for people, but we'll see. We'll see how it comes to fruition.
Yeah, because nothing is hit yet.
No. And if you're talking about mass market, like, everyone in crypto, we're always talking about like mass adoption, that mass adoption moment. How are we going to bring the next billion users on, right? Like my uncle Pookie, who I like to use as a reference, he is not downloading Warpcaster and doing anything on there. There's no way. He loves his Facebook. He loves his Facebook. He posts about all his travels and everything like this. There's nothing that's ever going to get him, anything right now that I see going to get him across. But maybe he's not the market. But we keep talking about mass adoption. So this is that's kind of like
should be the market. Everyone should be the market, right?
I don't know where the benefit is yet. Owning your information. Have you seen those ones on Facebook?
I think older generations have so let go of that. Like any desire to own your data or protect your data or own your information, because we've just I'm in the middle maybe, where my millennials have just let it happen too. We've just accepted that, okay, these companies just own everything about our experience and our lives online. And it's almost like we become numb to it. Whereas I think maybe like a younger generation could drive us towards more adoption, because there's seems to be more awareness around it.
Unless there's a benefit for owning it yourself, it won't be popular. You know,
Privacy is just
but privacy, it makes my Google Maps better. Why would I not give them all this information? It makes my experience online better. So until there's a reason for me to not allow it, right? I'm not a criminal. I'm not doing things that I need to be hidden, right? So, you know, for me, it improves the experience. Tick the box. Send the report. Track me.
Yeah.
You know. But
go ahead.
So, just to go back on to the older generation, you'll often see on Facebook someone copy one of those messages that says, Facebook, I do not approve or allow you to use these photos, and they'll post it as if and it'll be a copy paster of the. Have you seen these?
It's the same thing as like voting for Joe Biden because you think it's like a good, better choice, or like it's just what do you call it? There's like a term for it where you're just like you're putting it out there how great of a human you are.
Oh,
what's the term? You know what I'm talking about?
You use Joe Biden voting as the example, but yeah, it's called. We don't do it, so we don't know what it is.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's like you're just publicly putting out how good of a person.
Social justice warrior?
No, that's like the type of person maybe, but it's like you just want everyone to think how good you are. So let me post this thing about Facebook stealing our information because I'm such a good person.
And do you actually go into the settings and change anything? No.
I have before, yeah.
No, this person
that person
posts this, you know? They
just engagement farming a little bit.
Is it? I'm not sure. But I'm just saying that they do care. But do they care enough to do anything about it? Until the benefit outweighs, there's no...
It's like my health.
No,
I do care about looking good, but do I care enough to stop eating all the fucking delicious things I want to eat? Like, no. Yeah.
No. Embrace it.
Yeah. We're all filth pigs. Follow us. I had one more take on that a little bit, but I lost it already.
That's because they keep talking over you.
No, I feel like I do the same.
No. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. I'm just happy you're here with me.
With his big lies.
No, I feel like this is some type of like, I can't remember any of the terminology. Like,
we don't have any of the numbers.
No, I was going to say like when a kid gets sick and everyone just like makes their dreams come true. You know?
Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, it's like a Make-A-Wish. You're just here from my Make-A-Wish. Like I wanted to start a creator podcast, so you're just... yeah. That's what this is. This is just...
No, that you only feel that way because I fucked up the intro.
Your intro was more compelling than mine. The whole time I'm like, why am I talking about this like myself?
Okay, we'll have to rewatch that.
It's better to say less and not care than to like sound like you care.
I think the intros.
This is all staying in.
I don't think any of the intros make sense because one, no one's watching. Two, no one's watching more than two of these, unless they're going back and binge watching archives. Do you know what I mean? So somebody that watches in the future isn't going to watch and hear you say filth pigs, which is actually the password of his. So if you did watch, you'll know that filth pigs is his password.
But it's pigs with a Z.
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking cool.
Underscore Z, because you need one symbol and a capital Z.
I had such a good point, man. This podcast would have been way better if I could have gotten that point in.
I can remember. You should have put it in the notes.
Yeah, no, well, it's just part of this kind of natural conversation talking about generational differences and stuff.
The older guys, their data.
Oh, yeah, I remember. One possible scenario, because you talk about what's going to be valuable in terms of like what's the value prop for people to come to these platforms?
Yeah.
And right now there really is none.
Yeah.
Maybe enough creators, because there's a massive value prop right now for creators. They're the only ones really who have a value prop in the sense that they can own their content more. They can own their profiles and their audience. Like that's the only thing. So if enough awesome creators come and do awesome shit, then people will follow.
Yeah.
And that right now, I think, is one of the only paths I can see that's obvious, unless something gets introduced that's like, oh, wow, this is a game changer.
And Tellr's perfectly positioned for that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I agreed to do this.
Cool.
Because I didn't see it before. When you first pitched and you said creator economy within Web3 and within crypto, I hate the term Web3 to be honest, but within this, at first I thought, why? I don't want to do a podcast for that. But then I saw that you're right. This is one of the angles. And maybe joining Andrew Tate's university is a good decision from a marketing perspective, a biz dev perspective, because you're going to get heaps of, hyped up kind of roid freaks in there that with Instagram, and you can kind of bridge them over to Farcaster and hopefully pump these Farcaster numbers.
We need more roid freaks in the Discord.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
calling all roid freaks.
Maybe they're natural, but
yeah. But yeah, come join us in the Tellr Discord, free community. We're really just exploring, and personally, the reason that I'm doing this, I was running a marketing agency before. Still am, but it's not my passion really. And I want, as someone who's been creative my whole life and working with creative people, and I love creative people, and art and music really gives me a reason to find joy. I just want to introduce these concepts to people and provide free value and a community of creators, artists, musicians, painters, photographers, videographers, writers, anyone who's doing any type of creative exploration or expression, to look at these with a critical mind and an open mind, look at what's happening here, start exploring it, see if there's something for you, and let's build together. Let's share resources. Let's connect with each other. Let's build something awesome. Let's set this narrative. Take the power back from these fucking platforms that don't give a shit about us, despite the fact that we are the ones that are bringing all the value to the platform. We're creating the content, we're fueling the engagement, and they're just reaping all the rewards. There are obviously creators who are making a living, and increasingly more so every day, but I just think the power dynamic is completely out of whack right now, and we're just helping build up these massive corporations through our work without getting any type of reciprocation. And I think it's fucking bullshit. And I think that really, it's just why are we doing this? We're spending all this time just helping big tech get bigger. And there's now seemingly a potential solution with very little people there and very little full value, but it's not fully fleshed out. It's so early, but why aren't more people in there building and seeing what we can do? And that's what this is all about. It's let's see what we can do with Web3, because I'm a believer that we can do something massive and empower the right people in the process in a more equal way. And that's why I'm voting for Andrew Tate for president. Peace.
You did it. Yeah, it was great. And then just...
Mr. Beast says he doesn't end his video. He doesn't say he's going to end his videos.